Assalamualaikum and hi medium. My name is Nur Nadira Sofia binti Badri Shah. So next slide. Okay, so today our group will talk about protectionism in international trade. So even though free trade is known to bring many benefits, like increasing economic growth and giving consumers access to cheaper goods, many countries still choose to limit trade through the protectionist policies. So these policies include things like tariff, import quotas, and other restrictions. So countries usually do this to protect their industry, jobs, national security, or the environment. So in this presentation, we will explain five main agreements used by countries that support protectionism. For each agreement, we will also share real example and discuss whether those protectionist measures were successful or not. Next slide. Okay, so for the first agreement was protecting job and reducing unemployment. So one of the main reason country use protectionism is to protect local jobs. When the cheaper imported uh, product enter a country, local businesses might struggle to compete. So this can lead to job losses. So by adding tariff or limited imports, government try to protect their workers and reduce unemployment. But sometimes these policies only help in the short term and don't always fix the real problem. So for the first example is from the United States. In 2018, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on imported steel. So the goal was to protect American steel workers and reduce job losses. At first, the local steel industry did benefit, but other industry that needed steel to pay more, which hurt them. Also, the other country like China retaliated by putting their tariff on US product. So overall, the result was mixed. And then the second example is from South Korea. Between the 1916 and 2000, the government supported its shipbuilding industry with the subsidies and protective policies. So this helped the industry grow and create thousands of jobs. So over time, um, South Korea became one of the top shipbuilding countries in the world. So in this case, protectionism worked well in the long term. So that's all for me.
So, hi Madam, my name is Alia Shara. Now I will continue to present the second argument, which is protecting infant industry. So, one common reason why countries use protectionism is to support infant industry, which are new or developing local industry that not yet ready to compete with big international companies. For example, President Trump tariff on Chinese import aimed to protect US jobs and reduce the trade deficit, sparking a trade war with mixed results, some industry benefit, but overall cost rose and export suffered. Similarly, like Brazil, reliance on trade barrier and subsidies has protected local industry, but often lead to inefficiency and low competitiveness. Overall, protectionist policy offer limited success in preserving jobs and hurt global competitiveness. So the second example is from India. So India imposed a 12% safeguard duty on steel imports, mainly from China, to protect its local industry from cheap competition. While it helped stabilize price and prevent job loss in the short term, it raised costs for other sectors and didn't address deeper structural issue in the steel industry. Overall, the policy offered temporary reliefs but had limited long-term impact. Next slide. So the third argument is protect national security. So one of the main reasons countries support protectionism is to protect national security. Government argue that key industries like defense, energy, technology, and telecommunication should not be controlled by foreign company, as this could lead to serious risks such as spying, hacking, or even sabotage. So the first example is from USA. So in March 2018, President Trump imposed tariff on steel 35% and aluminium 10% under Section 232, citing national security. The move boosts US industry short term, but was weakened by exemption and inconsistent enforcement, limiting its overall effectiveness. The second example is from India. So in June 2020, India banned over 200 Chinese apps, including TikTok and WeChat, under Section 69 of the IT Act, citing national security risks. The move assert digital sovereignty and boosted local alternative, but faced enforcement challenge and mixed economic impact. So that's all from me. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
So thank you, Alia. So my name is Siti Nur Alisha Murad. So I will continue argument 4. Argument 4 is about how governments use protectionism to defend local industries. This means they put rules or tax like tariff on imported goods to give local businesses a better chance to survive. This is often done when those industries employ a lot of people or are considered important to the economy. So for the first example, in the early 2000s, South Africa clothing industry was struggling because of cheap imports from China. So the government added 60% tax on certain clothing products. This helped slow down job losses and gave local companies some breathing room. However, manufacturers didn't have the modern tools or technology to stay competitive. So in the end, the industry still declined and consumers had to pay higher price, according to Salju 2005. The second case is Indonesia, where the government put heavy tax and strict halal rules on imported food and drinks in the late 2010. This protected local food and businesses for a while and saved some jobs. But the problem was that many of these companies were still using outdated methods and didn't improve. A study showed that the protection delay need upgrades and made the industry less efficient in the long run, according to the CSIS Indonesia 2019. So the next slide is argument 5, focus on national security. Sometimes government use protectionism not just to save jobs, but to protect the country, especially when it comes to high-tech equipment, military tools, or critical infrastructure. So the idea is that depending too much on foreign suppliers could be dangerous during conflicts or global tensions. One major example is the UK ban on Huawei in 2020. The UK was concerned that Huawei equipment might be used for spying or cyber attacks. Even though Huawei had already built a big part of the network, the government decided to remove it all. This decision helped support national security and public trust, but it also caused big delays in 5G and cost a lot of money. The National Audit Office reported that it would take years for the UK to catch up again, according National Audit Office 2021. So the next case is Japan 2019 export restriction on key tech materials needed for making computer chips. Japan said the materials could be used for military purpose, so they tightened controls. At first, this hurt South Korea tech companies like Samsung, which rely on those imports, but it pushed South Korea to invest in its own supply chains and reduce its dependence on Japan. By 2021, the industry had adapted and stayed strong, according to Makioka and Zhang 2024. So I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. So my name is Akmal Harib Azmi. So to conclude our assignment, so we've seen the protectionism is often used by government as a tool to deal with specific challenge in their economies. So the main arguments include protecting local jobs, supporting infant industry, defending national security, and helping domestic sector stay competitive against foreign imports. So these policies are usually put in place with the hope of boosting local growth and reducing dependency on other countries. So, however, as we've also discussed, the result of protectionism are not always straightforward. In some cases, like South Korea's shipbuilding success, it has led to long-term benefits. But in other situations, such as US tariff on steel or South Africa's textile policies, the outcome have been mixed, sometimes even harmful. So, while protectionism may seem like a useful short-term solution, it's important that countries also focus on innovation, efficiency, and long-term planning to truly strengthen their economies. So that's all from us, madam. Thank you.